Hello everyone, welcome to the Candidates Tournament. Today we are analyzing the game from round 7 between Andrey Esipenko as white and Wei Yi as black. The game started with e4, e5, and here we have the pattern of defense. This is the third game of the pattern of defense in the tournament. Earlier against Blebaum, when he was black, we saw knight e5, and now after d6, the most common move is knight f3, but Sindarov played knight d3 and Fabiano Caruana played knight c4. Both moves very rare at the highest level, but Caruana managed to win the game here with white, with knight c4. Okay, but Esipenko chose a different path, the other main line with d4, and now knight d4, and soon after, Esipenko deviated from the main line, which is bishop d3, d5. This is the main variation of the pattern of defense, so he played instead queen e2. Temporarily locking the bishop here, but trying to take some advantage of the pins along the e file. But Wei Yi just playing calmly bishop e7, covering this, getting ready to castle. So now f3. Now there is no more queen h4 threats, since bishop is blocking its way. f3 is possible, but you can just come back with knight to d6. The idea behind the knight on d6 is maybe to jump on f5 sometimes. Knight c3, okay, so this one is under attack, but knight f5 is opening defense for the pawn and counter-attacking on d4. Queen f2, defending the pawn, and castle. Now bishop f4, f6, black does the same as white did before with f3, f6. Clearly disobeying Grandmaster Ben Feingold's instructions never to move f-pawn. They both did. And after knight e3, knight c6. But now we see that black managed to disturb the coordination of the white's pieces with two knights. He's attacking d4, and only the queen is protecting, so this pawn is hanging. Somehow white has to find a way to defend it, and the only way is knight e2. But now this bishop is locked, so developing of the bishop and this rook will be delayed, and perhaps white is just preparing to castle long and develop this bishop a bit later. Now knight b4, excellent move, forcing white to move a pawn ahead of projected castle, because white would like to castle long, but with pawn on c2, because in that way king is safer. Now after c3, bishop d6, and now later long castle is not so safe anymore, because these light squares will be weakened. And here this was a very strange decision. I was surprised to see it, that he rejected the exchange of the bishops and instead returned his bishop to d2. And during the live commentary that we had on our channel, we saw that rook e8 was logical, natural move. You're putting rook on the e file, you are pinning the knight, you are distracting white from a proper development. But Wei Yi found a magnificent move. I really liked it. I think this is the best move of the round in all 4 games, queen e8. It looks illogical because you want to put a rook there, but the point is that now white cannot castle long, and he will be immediately lost after queen a4. Incredible. The point is that if he would play, he cannot play king b1 to protect the pawn, because this rook is dropping. And how else to protect the pawn? If you play a3, you're running into the sacrifice. And now after queen takes and king b1, and now you think maybe, okay, he will manage to cover the weaknesses, to cover the king somehow. Okay, he took a piece, he gave for 2 pawns, but his king is kind of exposed and weak. But here all hopes will be destroyed after this beautiful move. knight e3. You're offering the knight for either piece to take it, but you are clearing the way for bishop f5. Amazing. This is checkmate. So for this reason, it's not possible to castle long, because queen a4 is coming, and instead white was forced to play the ugly king d1. You would never want to play such move, but you're forced. If you cannot castle long, if you cannot develop this bishop because knight is pinned, you have to do something about it. So king d1 is the pragmatic, even if ugly solution to move the knight and then put the bishop into play. Nevertheless, white is still being hit with queen a4, check. And now what to do? If you play b3, maybe this was one of the possible ways how to continue the play, but probably he did not want to further weaken the squares. He was hoping that he could just walk his king to safety, king c1, and for the time being he will keep the pawn on b2. It's a little better structure, but still it's quite exposed. And now Wei Yi plays b5. Very nice move that you're showing clear intention to play b4 and to open up the white king. And now white played knight f4, and we were looking at possibility of b4 here. Giving up this pawn. You don't care about that pawn because you can play bishop e6. Attack the knight now. And when knight comes back, you take on c3. And now you cannot take with bishop here because this knight will fall. You take with the pawn, and now bishop a3, check. What to do? And rook b8. So after b5, knight f4, we thought b4, but black played maybe even better move, c5. c5, his idea is clear, he wants to open the c file. The problem for white is that he cannot take here because he's losing this knight. Now, the fourth rank is open and he's losing a piece. So with this tactical motive, black managed to slip an important move. And after bishop d3, he took on d4. And now if white would take, this would really be a disaster because, just bishop d7 is good enough, and then rook c8. But actually, also this one is falling, so also this is possible. Okay, so cd4, white is playing bishop c2. He's trying to insert a good intermediate move to push the queen back. Queen is here excellently placed. And the queen goes to a6. And now he takes on d4. So now this pawn is protected. But nevertheless, black king is safe while white king is under huge attack. It will soon become overwhelming. Okay, so he was hoping to do some pins here. But now rook c4. Amazing exchange sacrifice that you cannot even dare to touch. If you take, you will just be destroyed like this. Okay, so he ignored the rook. This pawn is now under attack, and he played knight e2. And now knight e7. The idea is to play bishop f5. because this bishop is actually the only good defender of the white king. And to prevent bishop f5, white played g4. And the other rook is coming to double on the file. And now what to do? He just tried to play some random moves. h4, b4 is coming. The idea is to clear the way for the bishop here, because he wants to trade this one way or another, by offering an exchange or by forcing the exchange with his own bishop. And now after b3, he was hoping that this pin will give him something. Wei Yi just ignored the rook and played bishop b5. Amazing move. And now, if you take with the bishop. If you take again, then queen c4 is coming in. Rook c1, you have to protect c2, but queen d3. And now you cannot play rook c2, you have to play king d2, then queen d2. Now this will be soon over. He did take on c4 once, but after bishop c4 he did not take the bishop, he retreated to c2. But as I said previously, black wants to force the exchange of this bishop one way or another. He found a way by finally catching it in a pin. And now just some desperation by white, bishop c3, he's trying to cover the c file. Pawn takes, and now knight c1, just to support the second rank. But after rook b8, he resigned. Here is checkmate in 7. Let me show one of the lines. So knight b3, the only way to cover the checkmate. And now queen is threatening on b2. If you take here, he takes like this. Take, queen b3, check. You have to move away, and now bishop f4. Checkmate like this. Okay, that was it. Beautiful game by Wei Yi, who bounced back after losing to Sindarov. Perhaps he will be in better shape for the second half of the tournament. Thank you all for watching, and see you soon. Bye-bye.